From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and joining me on tonight's show, we have Rob.
Howdy, folks.
Jill. Nope, Jill.
I'm muted. I'm muted. Hi.
There we go.
Hi.
We have Nathan.
Greetings from the Sunshine State.
And Pete.
Sivako.
I love how Jill and I were the only ones who got the memo about the dress code for tonight. It's our 50th episode, folks.
Rob has got a top hat on.
Yeah,
Rob's
fair.
got the hat.
I'm wearing my
nicest
shirt.
This is my nicest
I was going to
shirt.
go fancier, but I didn't have time.
Well, speaking of fancy things, and but they've got plenty of time to do it in. We're going to have a big, long discussion tonight on the future of Epcot because an article came out this week that sorry about that we've got a lot of details about what's going on with the future of Epcot and Project Gamma. So you can see here a description, like a visual description of what all is going to be going into the area where we've got the Fountain of Nations right now, just back behind Spaceship Earth, and this is radically different from what we've got now. This is really just, who wants to tackle this first? Like, where do we want to start with all of this?
It's
We're radically different than the
concept art. Well, it's radically different than the concept art.
We've got this is what the original concept art for this was, and that's.
I don't see a fountain anymore.
It looks like they moved things around because that could be like the trail water, like the water thing. Although it makes more sense in the more recent story. That the trail.
Remember when we thought they were going to put World of Color into Epcot?
Oh yeah,
Based on that image.
Good times, good times.
The trail journey of water leading to the seas makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
it
makes
does,
sense going
but like,
forward.
how is that? I don't know. It doesn't in so much as it doesn't feel like Epcot. Like, what about those like Epcot?
We also don't know what they're gonna do, but that's just a nice transition to where, like, you're going, like, for lack of a better, for not quoting a song, but under the sea. Like, you start, like, there's a water around you, and then you're inside, and then essentially you're looking at the animals in the aquarium, and you're under the water with them. You have the Nemo ride where you're underwater. It's a nice vibe. It's a nice transition. I like that Epcot transition. Obviously, we all know that Epcot is going to, like, they're banking on festivals. That's how Epcot stays popular. It's how it stays busy. Yeah. There's nothing going on there anyway. So having the permanent festival center makes sense. Having the festival canopy makes sense. Mm-hmm. I do like how, that big food and beverage area. I'm curious to see what they do with that. Anything would be an improvement on what they have now over the electric umbrella.
Unfortunately, according to the article as currently standing, and granted some of this is subject to change given that things aren't happening with this until about 2021, Mouse Gear and Electric Umbrella are going to remain pretty much intact throughout this entire change. So that merch and that food and beverage is where Electric Umbrella and Mouse Gears are right now. So that's pretty much what we're going to get. Maybe a little bit of a change in theming to make it fit slightly better with the new things, but...
Well, I'm talking about the beer garden right in the middle. Side?
I'm sorry, Nathan, what?
We're so excited. Everyone's got a thing. No, I just said, wasn't there a permit for that side to demolish? Or, I know that we had said that for West, right, and I always get my things mixed up, but everyone was, like, freaking out, and we're like, no, it's the other side. But it was I thought there was one for that side of Mouse Gear and that sort of stuff, and now it doesn't.
No, it might have been.
I'm pretty sure that West is the only demolition permit that was filed.
Okay.
I think any of our stories we said that would be that would be Phase B, if anything, that they're going to do East first or West first, whatever it is. But that's why it makes sense. Cool and everything else.
I think they have to do it in phases, though, because I've always looked at it and said, how are they going to do this? Because you're talking about plugging up the front part of the park where everybody has to come in. How are you going to do, like, a workaround to get to everything else if you demolish all of it at once? So I think I have a little bit of a sigh of relief that they're only doing one. But, when I look at the concept art, like you guys, like I'm looking at east, and I'm thinking, I don't think that was in there, but there are so many trees and it's so vague on that side that maybe they could have left it open to maybe we leave it, maybe we don't. I just don't see, when I look at the stuff on the west end, it looks like they're going to knock everything down and build back up almost essentially what they have now. So it doesn't seem to me to be like why are they doing it? You know, like, can't they just rehouse everything in the existing buildings? I mean, it's going to be cool to see new buildings, but like, why? I mean, they're still going to have a Starbucks. They're still going to have a meet and greet. They're just breaking it out into different buildings. It just seems weird, right?
Let's talk about that Starbucks, because I think that's one of the weirder elements of this whole thing. Is if you bring that map up again, Ben, we'll showcase that. That Starbucks is just sort of like
in the middle of the walkway?
hanging out.
Yeah,
where we've sort of surmised this is where some of those like badges, not badges, they're on the ground. They're sort of like they say different things, and it's sort of right before you enter that side. But it doesn't really, I don't get it. I don't know why it's so far away from the center. I don't understand why you would put the Starbucks there instead of like make it a combined beer garden and Starbucks. I don't understand why you don't just put, if you're going to put it that far, why don't you find a way for Starbucks to sponsor a part of the land and have an actual land education coffee Starbucks thing inside of, I don't know, like anywhere in land.
Oh my gosh,
you could do
put
something.
that World Showcase.
I agree too in terms of why they're putting things where. Like, don't get me wrong, I think everyone knows I'm excited about this beer garden, but it doesn't make it makes zero sense putting it right in the middle of that walkway.
No,
that should be swapped, in my opinion, with the festival festival center. Like, because if everyone that's the walkway people go to the World Showcase, right? So putting a festival center in the middle would make sense.
Where do you think they're coming from with their beer? Like, that's what's genius about this to me. Right now, Epcot festivals are pretty much entirely constrained into World Showcase. They've bled out into the top end of Future World with, the active eats and all that stuff that happens over behind Intervention West right now. Yeah. And Taste Track, does that count?
I mean, it counts. It does.
So they have now transformed this. So you've got the beer garden right in the center, because people are coming to that beer garden. Like, it's not necessarily you have to buy beer there. You can get your beer at the booths all around World Showcase and bring it there. You've got the festival center there. So they're drawing people further into Future World for the festivals, rather than all bottled up into Future World or into World Showcase.
It's just right now there's the beautiful fountains, and that's like where the families are passing. I don't think I want to see. I mean, again, I love the idea of a beer garden, but like these people spilling out of a beer garden right dead center in the middle of that hub, right before you enter the World Showcase. To me, it just doesn't make sense by Disney. I get where you're coming from. I just understand you're putting it's smack dab in the middle.
Now 20 feet closer into Future World than they are right now at every other.
But also, you can keep them off to the side where that festival center is. You can keep them kind of at bay over there and have like this beautiful center in the middle. Instead, you're having like, hey, welcome to Epcot. Here's a beer garden, which again, totally cool.
I'm curious. They're just making what's already there more blatant, because that's really what Epcot is for most people now. It's a big beer garden. I'm curious
if they're going to lose. I think we're going to lose an area for Future World having some sort of stage concept. They don't really use it much anymore anyway, but they used to really utilize space for shows or whatever, and maybe that will go where you go all the way to the end and sort of facing American Adventure, like maybe they'll do something in that area. If you look at the
steps,
right. If you look at the plans, I think that's where the fountain is anyway, or farther, or the concept art. So maybe they're going to end up doing that. I think it's weird because maybe it's not weird, because that means you have a stage literally on 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock when it comes to that lake. If you put that farther down, it seems a little far, but then it's right next to the beer garden and the festival center. So I'm curious to see where they end up putting a stage and that sort of thing.
They've set up temporary stages there before, during Food and Wine.
Yeah.
Or it was during one of the festivals.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, when they film TV shows, they do it right there. Yeah.
Wait, can I just give a shout out though to the Fountain of Nations itself? Like, to me, that's like one of the sort of like hidden treasure things of Epcot. It's kind of the heart. I mean, it's right there in the middle. It's this big, beautiful fountain. It's great in the Florida heat. It's beautiful. It's got all the water effects, and they have the whole lore of like 22 countries brought gallons of water to dump it in to start it off when it started. started. Like, that makes me sad to replace that with the beer garden. No offense, Pete, but I mean, you know, I feel like Epcot is a beer garden. So, and I guess you guys kind of touched on that. But I just like, I'm sad for that loss of that fountain. I'm okay with everything else because they've kind of like made everything else not as cool as it used to be. Club Cool isn't as cool as it was with the ice stuff in it, and Interventions isn't what it was. So I'm okay with seeing something new there, but the fountain makes me sad.
Yeah.
What I heard is somebody on Twitter said, someone on Twitter said, oh, they're just basically turning this into like what they did with malls. Like they're stripping it of all its personality and yada, yada. And my thing is, and like, that's what you do when something is old and gross. You try new things with it. And Epcot's old and gross.
Oof.
In many ways. It just is. Like, if you really look around, it
We
is.
lost half our viewership.
Disagree. Everyone, he's crazy.
You know, here's the thing.
Let us know in the comments whether or not you think Nathan's crazy.
Yeah. If you think Future World is pretty, if you think Future World looks like the future, then enjoy your future, because it is rough and it looks like it looks like 1983. So
one of the things they're talking about though with the future is making it very green, right? And you're taking a water feature out to put another water feature in. So
they're
like
moving that water feature,
Yeah, but I just feel like that's a nice centerpiece to something that's supposed to be about, like, the future's not, I get what you're saying, the future is not, you know, Tomorrowland with the white walls and the sharp edges. It's now supposed to be very green and environmental. That's great. I love that from the artwork. But the fountain seems like it could stay and be a part of that new Genesis, no?
If this is supposed to be the World's Fair of today, these things would be in a World's Fair. So...
That's
then the
World's
Fair would be
including a beer garden.
Yeah, for sure.
That's our future.
Well,
the future of beer.
Yes, sir.
We've also got the future of nighttime shows to talk about for all of this as well. So let's head over
Have
here.
I mentioned how it's old and gross? No,
oh boy! Like those comments up, folks.
On that one.
Stop it! Stop the madness right now.
So. We've got some new concept art and some live footage of testing some of the effects for Epcot Forever, the show that is going to eventually be replacing Illuminations. Yeah, I know, it's sad, but this does look kind of pretty.
Come on, Pete. Illuminations was old and gross.
The kites are neat. They're just kites on jet skis that have Philips Hue lights on the tails. But I think it looks like a neat effect. Cool.
How inventive is that? Like, that's
I'm
so
sorry. I
simple.
think this whole thing looks like something you'll see at the Jersey Shore. Come on,
don't get me wrong, for sure.
It's
temporary.
I'm sorry.
How much
that's
is the
so
tour
cheesy.
to ride a jet ski?
Jet ski.
I want to go on that tour.
What?
Right. No,
well,
I don't
let me
think
say one thing though.
It just looks different and new. It's unique. I've never seen it before.
It is. Yeah.
It may look cheesy, but we won't know until we see it. And I'm happy that they're trying something different. And it's, boy howdy, they didn't have to. They could have phoned in this retrospective so easily. They could have just reused like a version of Illuminations.
Kites on jet skis are phoning it in.
No, I don't think so.
I can do that. I can go to the Jersey Shore and get a kite and a jet ski and do that. Like,
can we talk about something though?
Do it to Magic Journeys.
Are they
Do it
not
to Magic Journeys
for
and I'll be
rain?
impressed.
Also, these jet skis are going to be
Magic
flying
Journeys
around
on a Bluetooth speaker on
pyrotechnics.
the back of a jet ski.
They're going to be shooting off fireworks, and this guy on the jet ski is flying kites. Can we talk about that for a second? Like, that's crazy talk. I mean, it's fun, but also what about the rain? Like, are the kites going to be a part of the show in the rain? It rains a lot.
Or the wind.
So that's a concern
Yeah.
as well. Like, it does rain. Yeah. And, I mean, electricity, a kite, and some lightning. That's what we're talking about. No, it's going to happen again.
Well, that's the whole point. It's the American part.
But it's a transitional show, right? It's a transition between this and what will be, Illuminations and what will be, right? So it's a transitional show. Right. So they can take some like chances here with this one. So I kind of applaud that.
They can take some easy ways out.
This is an easy way out.
Yeah,
like, you've never seen it before.
No. Okay, no. I need a second. So this is, They have been testing for a while in Epcot having drones in the shows. And they had done all this planning work, permitting, all of this stuff so that they could have drones be a part of the new nighttime spectacular. My read of this situation is that they tried to make that work and could not make it work. And so what can we do to make drones without there being drones? Well, what if we just put them on a string and we drag them around?
Well,
so they
at the
made
same
kites.
time,
This is a
Universal
fallback
is
for
figuring
kites
out-
not working. Like for
yeah,
drones
but what I
not
don't
working.
understand is Universal is doing drones. So if Universal's doing it, Disney would have. This is a Cold War, so they must think this is hot, or they wouldn't have tried it. Or they're holding back drones for the actual big reveal of the new fireworks show. I think this is just them testing some stuff out. Look, this is not like the Jungle Book Alive with magic. So what are we complaining about?
Somebody was going to say that.
It's like
It was going to be
hiring
me,
a
but
high
someone was going to say
school
that.
to do the job of like seasoned professionals.
Yeah, wait, can I say one more thing though? There was a show, and I'm probably the oldest one here. So there was a show that was called. It was, I think, for Epcot's 10-year. It was called Surprise in the Skies.
Oh yeah.
And it was little like Mickey and Minnie in like little kind of like biplane like gliders that would go around the lake, and it was always having issues. To Pete's point about the kites, it was and rain and whatever else. It was always having issues so much to the point where the cast members, we kind of deemed it the mistake on the lake instead of Surprise in the Sky, because Mickey would drift off to the left and then he's gone and you don't know where he is anymore. And so a lot of what I'm seeing here looks like Surprise in the Skies at night, which gives me like shivers. So there's that part.
Well, you won't be able to see it for very long, so it's okay.
Yeah, because
limited
Epcot
time
Forever
engagement.
is only a limited time run.
Well, speaking of things that are limited time to be running away, I guess. So we were originally planning on doing a story this week about how the spitting camel had been removed from the magic carpets of Aladdin in the Magic Kingdom, and that we did not know if and or when it would return. We now know that it will, in fact, return. So let's talk about the other nighttime shows instead.
Yeah. I was going to say, for a minute there, I thought Danny Tanner had gotten his revenge. If you've seen that Full House Disney episode, he gets
not
spit on
bad.
those camels. But no, they shall return. So that's it. That's
There's
all
a
we
great
have to say
history
about
That's the end of that
camels, too,
story.
that we should talk about. Those were from the original Parade
Yeah, those
in Hollywood
camels.
Studios. Speaking
They've
of the
been
30th
everywhere.
anniversary. Yeah.
So talking more about nighttime shows that aren't at Epcot then. So we had some announcements come out that on May 1st, The Wonderful World of Animation is debuting. We knew that this was going to be the date as well, but I believe it was the first that we found out that this 12-minute show is going to cover every animated Disney and Pixar movie from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs through Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is a massive backlog to cover in that period of time.
Wow.
Tree of Life Awakenings is going to have drones because they can figure it out in Animal Kingdom. And Epcot,
You can't fly
we've already
drones over
covered
people,
that
but
as
you
well.
can fly drones over animals.
Yep, it is
sir,
no
yes,
problem
sir.
to do that.
Here's the big thing about Hollywood
They
Studios,
can't
though. We're
they
not
can't
losing
see
Star
you.
Wars. Yeah, we're not losing Star Wars, and we're not losing the movie one either.
That is
we
a
thought
good
we were
point.
losing things. We're just gaining one, which is amazing. And I love these smaller like shows because you can pop in and then see one and stay if you want, or you can leave. And it's kind of fun. It's a different way of doing things, and it's smart for them because the big show is always going to be Fantasmic, and so this allows people to sort of
What's that?
mill about and see a thing and then go.
Studios
does this
will have
mean-
as many nighttime shows as it will working attractions.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
That's
Matt, drop the mic.
mhm.
Boom.
Ooh, that's too real. That's too real. You know what though? I mean, think about it's another 12-minute show on top of all the rest though. Isn't that going to take up like basically all of the darkness hours? I mean, will there just be
It's a half an
basically
hour.
one? Yeah, that's a lot
Yeah.
though.
They're
I mean,
going to
well,
start the
that's a half hour.
spectaculars at
10
dusk.
minutes between each, so it's about an
Right.
hour. It's about an hour.
Yeah. Which is great. You're right. I mean, to your point, Nathan, that means there's a lot more offerings for people to do. I kind of wish it was like a little bit shorter, like the Sunshine Seasons Greetings, where that you could just kind of walk in the middle of it, and rotate around and kind of play for a while. I think that'd be
Ooh.
kind
That
of
was
cool.
I was going to say the same point too. Is that I'm afraid of congestion and people now parking in the same spot for an hour, as opposed to that
Yeah.
traffic flow, especially once
Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge opens up. Now you don't want
Yeah,
people
that's
just
true.
parking to watch the 1 hour of 4 different shows going on. Whereas opposed to that's a great point that Rob made with the Season's Greetings, where people are you kind of watch it while you're moving, or there's a flow of traffic because you're not missing much. That's my only concern about it. I mean, it's cool to have all these shows. More is always better, but it's just
But
I'm
keeping
afraid of
people
parking
out of-
for the night.
Yeah, but keeping people out of Galaxy's Edge for an hour on the other side of the land is not a bad call.
Yeah.
So
I
it can be helpful.
think there's a very good possibility they were going to get rid of the other shows, and then somebody was like, "Well, why don't we keep them all and eat people? You know, why not?" And they were like, "Oh, yeah, good point." Yeah. Although I do think, I think there's just going to be congestion issues no matter what because of Star Wars. But I do think they, in my past experience of staying there watching, when they would do movie magic and then go into the Christmas show, they did a good job of keeping walkways open. So, it's going to be like parade route kind of thing. And they're going to probably enforce that all the harder when Star Wars is open to keep that traffic flow happening.
Yeah. Speaking of walkways, the handprints in the walkway outside of the Chinese theater have been replaced and updated. They have original moldings of all of the handprints, and they've recast them from time to time.
Not updated. There's not like.
Well, okay, yes, that's wrong word there. There's nothing new particularly here.
Why isn't there new people?
Chevy Chase, his hand grew, so there's new hands.
So these have had some recast handprints. So they're still the real handprints and everything. It's just new cement.
Can someone explain to me why we have room to put... Look, keep your Donald O'Connors. Don't get me wrong. Keep your Audrey Hepburns. But John Ritter, you have John Ritter there, but like you also have, I don't know, the entire cast of the Avengers just hanging out doing a press tour, and you're not throwing their handprints in these things. I don't understand why these things don't get updated. Like, I love don't get rid of my Rocketeer one. That's my favorite. Like, I get... Some of them are amazing. Jerry Lewis, they're legends. They're actual... prints from Legends on there, and I think those should be kept. Rick Moranis, for sure.
I was gonna say, if you touch the John Ritter, I will cut someone.
Yeah, I mean, not to be mean, Nathan, but he did die while he was filming an ABC show. So, I mean, I feel like he should have a place of honor, somewhere along the way. Plus, maybe I touched he gave birth to Dipper. Just saying.
Look, I have 8 simple rules for taking care of Hollywood Studios.
Here we go.
No.
So
he doesn't get the reference.
Or we could just replace John Ritter's with David Spade.
Points to Jill. Points to Jill. Wait, wrong show. Sorry.
ParksCenter tonight.
Anyway.
It's nice just to see them caring. It is nice to see them refreshing these, doing the right thing. It's nice to see them concentrating on the little things with how many big things are going on all around Walt Disney World, especially at Hollywood Studios with 30th coming up and Galaxy's Edge. Doing little things like this is nice. And I think everyone, especially the old school people for Hollywood Studios, really appreciate the little things like this. So that's my piece.
And I would say, I know Chom's a fanboy of Hollywood Studios, and when I worked at Disney, I was actually at Epcot, but loved Hollywood Studios and would come over, and they would do that, Star of the Day, where they are in a little parade, and they come down and they do their handprints. So a lot of these are people who had done that Star of the Day thing. So for people like me, again, who are sort of fanboys of the old Hollywood Studios or MGM, it's kind of neat to see these things still exist the way they are. I definitely think you're right, Nathan. They do have a lot of other star power at their fingertips, but maybe they could put that somewhere else. But I think it's kind of neat that they're keeping this intact while everything else about this, with bringing them down Great Movie Ride and changing the music and everything else is changing. It's neat that this is staying how it was.
Or just, expand it. There's no reason you couldn't expand it too. Yeah. Though, I mean, there's a trend right now. We're getting rid of, large stone structures and bricks and all sorts of stuff. So maybe that's Hollywood Studios variation. Who knows?
Maybe we could buy you a commemorative John Ritter handprint for your birthday, Nathan, so that we can.
See, that's what's going to happen.
A Christmas ornament. Maybe.
Keep all those molds, and they'll 3D print it for you. So.
Oh man! Don't give them the idea.
JPEG, I'm making you money.
Oh, speaking of JPEG making money, good grief, y'all making it easy on me this week. Walt Disney World is now going to be charging you $6 to touch your groceries.
That's weird.
Nice.
I mean, it's a handling fee. What else are you going to call it?
Delivered with magic.
So guests staying at Walt Disney World hotels can receive mail throughout their stay, but if you want to have things shipped, we're probably going to be charging you $6 per package handling fee. I believe there was already a handling fee for a lot of packages, but it's been expanded out a little bit now to include grocery deliveries and things of that nature.
Is that Amazon packages too and things like that?
Yes,
or?
yeah, I've had Amazon shipped to my room
This is
before, and I
their
had to pay this. So
to be honest, I get it. Like we're tired of them charging for things, but this kind of makes sense. It does take not everyone. A lot of people figured out you can get your clothing. I've had clothes shipped there. I've had groceries delivered there. Things, food and beverage for the room shipped there. They do have to take the time to take that package in, find out where it goes. That's taking part of someone's day who's being paid. So I get it. I think $6 may have been a big jump, especially per package. Maybe like $5 for all your packages. I don't know how that works out, but
I don't think it's per package. I think it's per delivery.
I believe that is no, it's per package. It's per package according to the official Disney policies. Please note that a $6 per package handling fee.
Yeah, I was gonna say normally when Jill corrects me, I just stop talking, but.
You know what though? I totally get this. Like if you go to a movie theater, you have to pay movie theater prices for popcorn and candy and all that kind of stuff. And if you're going to Disney, they're used to getting their unfair share of whatever because you're there. Now that you're not landlocked and because you can have Amazon Prime deliver stuff to you, they're having a lot of people it's like delivering pizza to your seat at the movie theater now. It's like the guy walks right by you and you don't get that money. So I think that could be part of it, but I think to Pete's point, it really so many more people are doing this. It's got to be taking a tax on how many people they have to actually stop and deliver this stuff for you. So, I mean, I think that you could still save a lot of money if you did an Amazon Prime package and then on top of it had to pay the $6 over what you would pay shopping at the Boardwalk Sundries.
Yeah.
Right. And
now everyone's going to be checking, please ship everything in one box.
Yeah, really.
If you understand Florida very well, like we have a lot of Amazon centers around here too, because we're covered in water on like 3/4 of our sides. Like Central Florida is a central place for that kind of stuff, and so it is really easy to get certain things sent, in one day. I get this. Disney had a long couple decades where the idea was isolate you. We provide everything. Yep. You don't need to worry about it. We got you, and they made it. This is why they started picking people up at the airport with the Magic Bus. Like this is the whole point, the Magical Express. So now, Rob's right. They're finally seeing what is happening because of digital stuff, and it bothers them. And minivans are another example of this. It's them trying to continually keep you inside of their own ecosystem. I don't
charging you for parking. Charging you for parking is an example of that. They don't want you to have a car. They want you to come to Disney and not be able to leave Disney, and they will do everything in their power to make that happen so that your money stays at Disney.
But there are also a lot of other hotel chains and outside that do charge you for parking. So as much as it kind of pains me to have to pay for parking, I think they can get away with that one pretty easily. It's just like this,
I think
not with you.
I think the parking is 100 times worse than this. I think
agree
this is
too.
totally
There's no
understandable.
discounts
I think the
for
parking
APs or
is
DVs. Yeah, and there should be discounts for how long your stay is. If you're an AP, DVC, parking I think is a little much nonsense. This I understand more than the parking. But again, Universal charges for parking, so do other, like you said, major chains. So Disney's like, if we're missing out on a chance to make money, we're a publicly traded company. We gotta get our nickels and dimes.
Yeah, really.
Oh, but they don't charge DVC for parking.
Oh, we pay them enough.
Well, now all I have to do is buy it. All I have to do is buy
it. Only if you're staying on points. Yeah, if you're staying on points, because if you're DVC and you pay cash, like for a hotel room, you still have to pay parking, even if. So I wish it would extend to DVC and annual pass that you can just show that and be exempt.
Yeah.
All right, that is going to do it for this week, folks. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, try checking out some of these other wonderful shows that WDW&T puts out.
Dreamfinders is WDW News Today's podcast all about the creative culture surrounding Disney parks. Curious what it's like to read poetry about the Haunted Mansion? Well, we've talked to someone who has. How about what it takes to actually build a Disney castle? We've chatted with a guy who did just that. Authors, Imagineers, dancers, actors, photographers, filmmakers, and a whole lot more have all stopped by to chat about how Disney has inspired their artistic work. Dreamfinders. Episodes drop every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcatcher.
Ride Rehab is the podcast of ridiculously reskinning, refurbishing, and even removing Disney attractions, shows, areas, and parks. Can we cram Star Wars or Marvel into anything else? Just listen and find out. Visit riderehab.com to start listening now. That's riderehab.com.
WDWNT Nerd Alert is the podcast that encompasses all things Marvel and Star Wars in a fun and entertaining format. On each episode, we take a look at the latest news, provide reviews for the latest feature films, inform you about what is going on in the comic book world, and discuss and debate original topics pertaining to the worlds of Marvel, Star Wars, and beyond. Find us on various podcast applications by searching for WDWNT Nerd Alert.
The WDW News Today podcast is the one that started them all. Join us for comprehensive history segments, heated debates, epic countdowns, and more from the Disney theme parks around the globe. Just search for WDW News Today in whatever podcast service you choose.
Last but certainly not least is WDWNT's premiere show, WDW News Tonight. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. for a live weekly audio and video show that combines the latest headlines, comedy, trending vacation topics, call-in games, and in-depth discussions to bring Disney fans a one-of-a-kind 2-hour program covering the Disney parks. If you can't catch the show live, you can always watch it later on YouTube or listen to it through your desired podcast service.
And of course, you can find ParksCenter every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern is when we record live. If you would like to watch us over at wdwntunes.com or at youtube.com/wdwnt, where you can subscribe there, hit that notification bell, and get notified every time we go live and every time we upload a new video.
Ben,
you can also.
I want to say happy 50th.
Hey!
Ben.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
50
you did it.
official episodes.
We did it, folks!
Congratulations. Sorry to interrupt. Happy
No,
50th, man.
worth it. I am really glad. Thank you, folks. It's been a great 50 episodes. I'm looking forward to at least 50 more. This is going to be terrific. Thank you all for watching this show and making it possible and worth producing. Please come hang out with us at Stage 89. If you folks haven't heard about this yet, stage89.com. It's in 16 days. It's going to be real soon. Oh my gosh, I am looking forward to hanging out with all you folks. We've got events going from Friday on the 26th all the way through to Wednesday. We've got multiple games going on. We've got group rides. We've got all sorts of wonderful things. Go check it out. Go see the whole schedule at stage89.com. If you can come, you will not regret coming.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'm sorry.
We'll miss you, Rob.
We will miss you.
Rob.
Designated
Always
survivor,
one
I
guy.
guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Someone's got to run the show.
Somebody's got to run the show when Disney poisons all of us at the event.
I get to run
I'm
the show?
practicing all my kite work.
All right, folks. Well, that is going to do it for this week. Unfortunately, we don't have a post show tonight. We usually do after every one of our shows for our Wigs members. That's what we refer to our Patreon subscribers as. If you want to join our Wigs Club, you can head over to patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our post shows, the post shows for News Tonight, which is going to be back tomorrow night. So check that out right here, starting at 9 p.m. I think that's going to do it. Let's get out of here and have a good night, folks. Thank you all for all the episodes, and looking forward to a lot more with you. Have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
See ya. Da, 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 da.
Sibako.
See you back on.